He was not only an outstanding individual, but I think in many ways he exemplified some of the comments we heard. Share one brief story. It was during the last 2 weeks of August, and if memory serves me, it was 1966. And Dean Temple came up to me in the morning, and he said to me he wanted to swim the lake on his 70th birthday. Dean knew that I had been on the swim team in college. This was a 70-year-old man with a twinkle in his eye. And I said, okay. And he said, I want you to swim with me. He didn't want to be in the water swimming alone. And I said, fine. When is your 70th birthday? And he said, today. So a couple of hours later, he has a boat. He has a couple of people in it, one of whom has a bamboo pole. He has me, and there's a small entourage now that's developed with some other boats. We left from this dock here, which at the time was called the Sink Easy. I'm not sure what it's been called in the last 20, 30 years. We swam over to the outpost, then over to a birch log, and then back, a triangle. And here was this 70-year-old man with the twinkle in his eye. He gets all through swimming, and I said, well, what are you going to do next? He was going to buy a battery for his steel-beamed flashlight because teenagers were here, boys and girls, and he always had to have the brightest flashlight during the evening to keep his eye on those teenagers. He was an absolutely remarkable person. I don't think anyone has ever taught me more about programs and how to respect other people in a setting like this. And I just know he did the same for hundreds of people. He gave me a lot, and I saw that happen to many others. And I wanted to take this moment to pay tribute to him. Thank you, Karen.
Hi, my name is Karen Wiseman when I came to camp, and Rachel.
Milbauer, Warsaw now.
And we knew each other, actually our parents went to junior high together, so we've known each other for a very long time. And Rachel started coming to camp when I think she was 8 years old. Nine?
Yes.
And her parents sent her away for the whole summer. I came the year after, only for 2 weeks, and then after that I came for 4 weeks, and then I came for 6 weeks, and then I just didn't stop coming for many, many years. And we were CITs together.
Yes.
And one year I made the mistake of actually going to a different camp, if you can believe it, a kind of fancy camp in, where was it, New Jersey maybe? But I hated it so much that I even left that camp and I came back here that year. So we're so excited to celebrate the 100-year anniversary. I brought my whole family, who are a little camera shy, but was so excited to share Wawa Segowea with them. They hear me talk about it. They had to listen to me sing all of the camp songs on the way up. Yes. And Beth, hi Beth. And so we just, coming to Sleepaway Camp for so many years is such a huge part of who I am. The why, at that time it was the why from Poughkeepsie, and taking the bus together and taking it home. And my husband said, your parents never came to visit you in camp? And I said, we didn't want them here. It was just such a world unto itself, and we really were just such a family here. So I'm very excited to be here and hope that it will be here for at least another 100 years.
My name is John Dunn, former president of the board of Smith Park of New York and Smith Park in Massachusetts. My first involvement with Camp Wawa Segowea was when a generational camper, Jeff Raymond, invited me up to come for a work weekend. He said, oh, it's a great place to be because you're away from all the rigmarole, and you got no phone, and you don't have to worry about people bugging you. So I said, okay. So I came up here, and I figured, oh, Jeff's been through this. You know, he knows the ropes. So we all used to sleep in the dining hall. And I'm laying there trying to get to sleep, and a couple of the old timers, or a few of the old timers, always used to play hearts up by the fireplace. And they've got Jeff there, and they said, we want to welcome Jeff Raymond. You know, his father was involved with camp, and this is Jeff's first time up here, and it's great to have him. And I'm thinking to myself, that son of a gun, he wrote me in, and he hadn't even been up there himself yet. So that was my involvement, and that was like 1986, and I'm still pretty much involved.
I was camp director from 77 through 82, 6 summers. And the best advice I can give Josh is don't do anything that I did back when I was running the camp. No, actually, I was talking to Josh about the summer. He was talking about a lot of learning experiences, and I said that's true every year. As long as you can learn from the experiences, things get better and better every year. He was telling me about getting ACA accreditation this year, so having that for the next 3 years should be great. And I was giving him some thoughts on the swim setup maybe he can take advantage of for next year.
I'm Josh Scott. I've been the camp director for this summer and hopefully many years in the future. And just hearing great advice and great feedback from all the support that the Smith Park Board has for the Northwest Connecticut Y, and a great collaboration for many years to come.
John, how about a favorite story from your years at camp?
Well, I have a favorite picture that I keep at home. You've got a lot of footage today from Beth. Beth was a CIT when I became director, along with my daughter. And this favorite picture has Beth and 2 other CIT girls taking a bubble bath in one of the big steel kitchen sinks. And they're in the sink, covered with bubbles. Great picture, wonderful memory. Nice to have seen the way they grew up. My daughter ended up being the waterfront director. Beth grew up to be the girls' counselor and eventually to be the director of the camp for 20 years. So you like to think maybe you had a little something to do with their getting started. And of course the other one I'm proud to point to is Mike Bruns, who worked in the kitchen for me, now the vice president of the Smith Park Board and our tech expert and communications guy and everything. So hopefully they got some inspiration back in the day.
One of the important stories that I learned from camp, as a matter of fact shared with the campers when I was a counselor and a leader, was the fact that if you've ever seen a coconut, did you ever try to smash it? I challenge you to get a sledgehammer and try. It's almost impossible. But inside that coconut is the sweetest milk possible. That's why people do eventually crack it to taste it. That coconut shell is often a good representation of how we operate through life. We keep our deepest feelings inside the coconut shell. When we are able to share some of those real feelings, deep feelings, inmost feelings, where our true self lies, with another, and they touch us with their life, a relationship is formed, which can be immense in our development. I've seen kids do this, whether it's on the ball field, whether it's in the cabin at night, or at the swim dock, where you are touched by another human life in a very deep place. It's a learning experience that's incredible.
Okay, my name is Toby Malbeck. I attended Camp Segowea from about 1973 to about 1985. Many years of good times up here at Camp Segowea. I think probably my finest memory, or one of my more interesting times, was when I was in Senior Village and we went on a trip down the Farmington River. And probably the third day, we entered into Class 4 rapids. The canoe flipped over. To the best of my knowledge, the canoe is still in the rapids in the Farmington River, and the then camp director, John Fisher, had to come pick me up from the Yukon Medical Center. I'd cut my foot open. So I owed the camp a canoe, and I guess the final part of the story is when my dad passed, my brother Owen and I donated a canoe to Camp Segowea. So while it may not be the most exciting memory, it certainly was one of the more interesting, and I wish Camp Segowea the best in its 100-year anniversary.
Are you ready? Yeah! Who wants to see some juggling tricks? Are you ready? Yeah! Juggling tricks. Now, juggling is a whole bunch of things. One of the things juggling is balancing. So I'm going to start out by doing some balancing tricks. Are you excited? Yeah! I'm very excited. Here we go. Balancing tricks.
Good for you.
So balancing tricks. So I balance the nose. I balance the hat on my nose. Now, what else could I balance?
Checkbook.
No, I'm no good at that, as it turns out. That's why I'm a juggler.
Yay!
Let's see. Oh, I know. I can balance a club on my nose. Balancing a club on the nose.
He did this when he was a counselor. I mean, he used to juggle and stuff like that as a kid.
Now, let's see. What else could I
Still doing it.
I remember. As soon as you started doing it, it all came back. I'm like, oh
this
yeah.
chair.
Yeah, remember he used to
Yes, I
juggle.
can. Who would like to see me balance this chair on my face for your amusement?
I think we're reliving our childhood here.
For your amusement, I need a volunteer
To sit in the chair?
to sit in the chair.
John, go sit in the chair, John.
Okay. Balancing a former camp director in a chair on my face.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen. I need I'm sorry, John. I need a slightly shorter person. Let's see.
Notice he said shorter, not light.
He's obviously in politics.
Shorter. How about this young man up here with the striped shirt? Come on down. No? Okay. How about this young man? How about this cute little girl here with the ball? What's your name?
My name's
Hazel. Right? Everybody, let's hear for Hazel. Hazel, you gotta give the ball to this guy. Give it to this guy. Trust him. Give it to him. Okay. Hazel, how old are you? You're 3?
Wow.
Guess what? So am I. Nice to meet you. I'm Neil the Juggler. Here, shake my hand. Shake my hand. Hazel, let go now. Woo! Wow. What a shake. All right, have a seat, Hazel. I will now balance the famous Hazel in this chair on my face for your amusement. Here we go. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, let me try the other side. Get back. Here we go. Hazel, what did you have for breakfast this morning? I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. Oh, everybody say, oh. But, did you know that Hazel is a famous juggler? What? Really?
Even Hazel?
Now watch Hazel, the famous juggler. Hazel, the famous juggler. Wow! She's got 3 arms. Let's hear for Hazel. Thank you, Hazel. Now, ready? Now,
Hazel needs to shave her.
I will balance Hazel's chair on my face without Hazel, because I don't want to hurt Hazel, right? All right, here we go.
easier with a double chin than it used to be with a single.
Okay, so now some real juggling tricks. Juggling. Wow, is this exciting? Who wants to see a trick? Me. I do. Here we go. Here's a trick. Watch, I can do it with the other foot.
Do it with both?
All right. Uh-oh. I dropped it. But you know, anytime a juggler drops a prop, it's not because he dropped it, it's because it's all part of the act. So what you're supposed to say is, that's okay, it was supposed to happen.
That's okay.
It was supposed to happen. There you go. Thank you. And that was supposed to happen. Juggling tricks. More juggling tricks. It's been months since I juggled, but that's okay. Woo! Behind the back. Behind the other back.
That's okay. It was supposed to happen.
Trying to make it look hard. All right. Who would like to see 4 juggling balls?